Hi, I don't think we need any more presentation. More or less, I talked to everyone. I'm Guillem, if someone hasn't met me yet. I'm presenting Spot. That was the file name for the face-to-face facilitation app. That was the original idea from Matthew and also from Eric. We first had a little discussion here to what the Holochain application, most importantly, could be like to be flexible enough to cover the most use cases. So I focus on that, on having the data structures flexible and working on the Holochain backend. And I built a simple UI to this most simple case of just creating. I'll explain the general flow. You create a spot that can be an event, it can be a garden, it can be whatever. Questions get added to the spot, so there can be a dynamic list of questions. It can be predefined. It can be added to the participants from the participants itself. And then the participants respond to those questions, you'll see in a moment. And those responses are to be aggregated in some kind of visualization wow factor that I didn't have time really to bake in. So I'll just go through the application very quickly. So for example, this is the spot name, the event, whatever. Okay, this is an interesting concept that Arthur actually recommended me, which is to have different question types, not only this kind of question type, so 100, 0, but maybe Boolean, maybe numeric, maybe free text question types also. I've only implemented the range one from 0 to whatever, but all the engine is prepared to accept new kinds of question types in the future. So I can input here 0, and I can input new questions as well. Oops, that's a bug.
How great is the Spot?
Huh?
How great is the Spot app?
Let's see if the bug lets us. Yeah. Okay, so now the spot's created and everyone gets a list of questions accessible through the URL. Okay, so you can answer like, okay, maybe 85.
A little more.
A little more, yeah?
I'm feeling more.
Like here. Maybe 43. Okay.
100.
100, okay. 99, okay. I'm really tired, so 99. So let's submit our questions, and I only had time to list basically all the answers from all the people that participated. I didn't have time to connect to a little networky thing to anyone to participate. I didn't have time to do that. I wanted to use this kind of representation that should be cool, like you are closer and more connected to the people that answered like you. We talk about 2D diagrams as well, like being close to the people that are connected to you. The thing is that the data structure, the backend, doesn't really have to change in order to make other visualizations of the data. So it's a good building block from which to go on. And in the learning part, I want to share to us, for us coders, who are the most important people in this event, right? The coders. The most relevant learning from me here has been implementing polymorphic validation. So validation for any kind of question types that you can define, for example, here, different question types. I only have range. And then the validate function matches which question type are we validating, gets the value from the generic JSON string that can be input from the UI, and actually validates for this question type. And we can imagine that from the 10 questions, 5 are range questions with different ranges, 5 are Boolean questions, whatever. And each one of them validates itself correctly. So that's it. If anyone can or wants to use this to build and progress the project, I think it's very interesting and could be useful. That's it. Some questions?
Could you go back to where you displayed the results for a second?
Yeah.
One of the things that I got excited about originally this thing was if this was displayed like a histogram, like a bar chart of people's answers, that you could watch like at an event where we're doing this kind of thing. You could answer the question and you'd see your screen. You would see at first only yourself, right? If everybody's answering, and everybody would see only themselves, but then you would see the eventual consistency in action, right? Like you would see your bar chart changing. It would look a little bit different than the one up here, but eventually as everybody's answered the questions, everybody should end up looking the same. And for me, one of the things that I'm excited about that kind of possibility at an event like this is to actually have that experience of the different perspectives while things are changing and in gossip, but then settling on that eventual consistency.
I'm going to add a little bit to that. So actually, even on top of that, for this application, one of the things that we had talked about doing is actually there's a limitation, because it's still a centralized viewpoint for everyone, that you can have that perspective, and you can also then, on your individual phone, be able to see your own, or not phone, but computer initially. But on your computer, I'd be able to see this is me at the center of this community, and this is from me looking out. These are the connections that I have that are the strongest, so that everyone can have an agent-centric perspective from their UI. Cool. Thanks, Guillem.
Thank you.